Let me talk about the Adam Project now, um, because this is also a film that I watched recently. But I want to talk a little bit more about this one over the other films that I watched recently. And it's gonna be so. This is kind of a review. Well, it is a review, I suppose. Not kind of. It is a review. I don't want to get into spoilers. However, there is something that I want to mention that um, if you haven't seen it, you might not want to hear it. It's not quite a spoiler. It's nothing to do with the plot. It's nothing to do with the story. Nothing like that. But there is something that happens in this movie that I want to talk about. And if you haven't seen it, I appreciate you might not want to hear it right now. So I'll let you know when I'm about to talk about that bit. And if you prefer, you can use the time links, whether you're listening or whether you're watching. There'll be time links in the description so you can skip to the next section if you'd rather not hear that bit. Matter of fact, if you'd rather not hear this bit, you can skip to the next section. But so yeah, I don't want to get into spoilers, but just there's something I want to mention that happens that I think needs to be talked about. So first of all, just as a basic, very, very non-spoiler review, if you've not seen it, I definitely do recommend seeing this movie. It is fantastic. It's sci-fi action involving time traveling. The main character is well, I guess main characters, if you want to get technical. But you have this boy who, his father passed away about a year ago. About a year ago. Okay, that's the last one. That's the last one. He passed away about a year ago. And so he's living with his mother. His mother's raising him on her own. And, he's kind of a cocky guy, but he's kind of a nerd. I guess he's kind of like, if you've seen The Amazing Spider-Man, so how Andrew Garfield is as Peter Parker in Amazing Spider-Man. That's kind of how he is in this movie. He's kind of a cocky nerd. No business being that cocky, getting beaten up as much as he does, but he's kind of a cocky nerd and who grows up to be Ryan Reynolds. And Ryan Reynolds' character comes back from the future because there's some things going on there and he's trying to save the future by going to the past, but it turns out he goes to the wrong past. He undershot it a little bit. And that's the kind of basis of how it's all set up. So I won't get into the details of the story and stuff like that. But I will say I did enjoy the action. I did enjoy. I'm kind of a fan of sci-fi, in particular time travel, just anyway. So I'm always kind of interested when things involve that, because I like the theories that people come up with when it comes to time travel. I have a few of my own, by the way. Well, one in particular, really. I won't get into that right now. Maybe another time. Maybe another time. But I am interested when it comes to time travel, and I liked what they did with this movie when it came to time travel, just with them coming back to 2022, and then it's kind of like almost like Back to the Future a little bit. Like it does have that kind of, I don't want to say feel to it, but there are like I guess subtle references. In fact, they mention Back to the Future, so more than a subtle reference, they blatantly reference it. But even just the film itself feels like they're making subtle references to Back to the Future at various points. But the main thing I want to talk about this movie, and this is where I get into the bit that you might not want to hear if you've not seen it. Like I said, it's not really a spoiler, but you might not want to hear it if you've not seen this movie. And I'm going to give you time to find that time link and skip ahead if you want to. All right, so here we go. The main thing I want to talk about in this movie is the I love you scene, because I think this is something that a lot of men wish it's a moment that a lot of men, I think, wish they could have had with their dads. And it's a scene where Mark Ruffalo, who plays the father in the past, the one that passed away. So they go back further to the time when he was alive, and he's talking to them. There's a scene when he's talking to them, and he realizes their time is kind of short, and Ryan Reynolds' character is, they're both there. Ryan Reynolds and was it Walker Scobell? They're both there, but he's talking to Ryan Reynolds' character, and he's saying, "I love you," and Ryan Reynolds' character. I was saying Ryan Reynolds because I'm trying to differentiate between two Adams. They're both, they're both playing Adam, right? So Ryan Reynolds' Adam is like, oh, it's fine. I don't have to worry about da da da. And he's like, no, listen to me. I love you. And he kind of just shrugging off still. Oh, it's fine, whatever. Da da da. And he's like, no, listen to me. I love you. I love you. I'm proud of you. I love. And it was. He just kept saying it over and over again. And man, that there's certain scenes in movies when they talk about the magic of cinema, this was Netflix, but still, the magic of movies, where there's certain things they can do that really just reach into you and just get to that place. And I think this is one of those scenes because a lot of guys don't get that. We don't get that. And I think especially, well, maybe not especially, but I think if you're maybe 35 or older, most likely you might not have you might not have got them from your dad. You might not have had those moments with your dad. I mean, you might have had a moment where your dad said he's proud of you, we love you, but in terms of just like drilling it and making sure you knew, like, a lot of guys don't get that. A lot of guys, like, if you're 35 or older, 40 or older, there's a good chance you grew up and never once heard your dad say that he loves you. And it's not that he didn't, of course. It's not that he never showed it in other ways. You understood. It's always like an unspoken thing, but it was never, spoken, right? So that moment where he's just kind of drilling it in, I love you, I love you, I love you. No, listen to me, I love you, I love you, I'm proud of you, I love it. It felt, it just, like I said, I think a lot of guys, myself included, it's that, that you feel like you need to hear it. And it made sense to me that he said it to Ryan Reynolds' character rather than Walker Scobell's character. It seemed to make more sense to me because Ryan Reynolds is older and he grew up with all that time, spent 30 plus years, with that. He never really known his dad because his dad, worked quite a lot. So even though his dad was around, he wasn't really around, and then he dies, and he's had to like live with that for the next sort of 30 something years till he becomes, this guy. So it felt like it made sense to say to him, because even though Walker plays the child, or a child Adam, the adult Adam really needed to hear that the most because he's been living with that for so long. He's been living with that pain for so long. And even though it's not said and it's not kind of mentioned, that's what it felt like they were trying to get at. And it felt like Mark Ruffalo, the father, it felt like he knew that somehow, that he needed to hear it the most. So he just kept saying it. I love you. I love you. No, listen to it. It's yeah. I think that scene in that could, when we talk about impactful scenes in movies, that for me was one of the most impactful scenes in movies, and especially when it's like, you grow up with, in a lot of households, like I say, you don't hear that, and it's not like, and like I said, it's not that they your parents don't love you. You understand that they do. You understand that, they're working and they have to do certain things, and they're trying their best to give you the best life you can. You understand that, you understand that, right? So it's not that you don't know it, but it's just, you kind of wish you could hear it. You kind of wish you could just like have that moment where it's just clear and there's just no doubt, and it's just, and yeah, it was a good scene, man. It was a powerful scene. And oof, yeah, so I think a lot of guys out there wish they could have that moment with their father, especially older guys. Maybe some younger guys. You guys might be doing a bit better than us older guys. I think some of you might be a bit more on it when it comes to that sort of thing, and just like really letting your parents, like really letting you guys know. Maybe, I don't know. You can let me know. But I feel like there's definitely a lot of guys out there, and especially when it comes to like the 35 older, 40 older crowd, where you even never heard it that much, or you never heard it at all. And a moment like that is just like what you feel like you need, just to really kind of pull away any kind of doubt, any kind of pain, any kind of anything that you had, where it's just, now And when they got just hugged at the end of it, because Ryan Reynolds as Adam, he kind of breaks down. because he kept drilling it into him. Look, he's trying to, shrug it off like it doesn't matter. I'm a grown man, but he's trying to shrug it off, but it's there, and he knows it's there. So he's drilling it in. I love you. I love you. Listen to me. Listen to me. I love you. I'm proud of you. I love. And then he breaks down, and they hug, and it's a really powerful scene. Really powerful scene. So yeah, I really enjoyed the Adam Project. I thought it was a great movie overall. Just really cool action sci-fi, but that scene in particular, yeah, that was oof, that really got me. That really got me.